Everyone knows The Exorcist. The possessed girl, the spinning head, the demonic voice. But almost everything you think you know about that story is wrong. Because the real case didn't happen to a girl, it happened to a 13-year-old boy. And it didn't come from Hollywood imagination. It came from documented priest journals, medical evaluations, and church records from 1949. Tonight, we're not retelling a horror movie. We're reopening a case file. The case begins. Who was Roland Doe? In 1949, newspapers didn't use his real name. They called him Roland Doe to protect his identity. He was an ordinary boy from Maryland, Catholic family, no history of mental illness. Everything changed after one event: the death of his aunt, a woman deeply interested in spiritualism. Shortly after her passing, strange things began happening in the house. Furniture moving, scratching sounds inside walls, objects shaking without explanation. At first, the family did what most families do. They called a doctor. From medicine to the church. Medical exams found nothing physically wrong with Roland. No epilepsy, no psychosis diagnosis that explained what followed. But then came the behaviors. Roland began entering trances. His voice changed. He reacted violently to religious objects. At this point, doctors referred the family to priests. And this is where the real investigation starts. The documents Hollywood didn't show. Jesuit priests began recording everything. Daily journals, exact dates, exact behaviors. Not emotions, not opinions, observations. According to the records, words appeared scratched onto Roland's skin. The marks reportedly formed Latin phrases. He showed extreme aversion to prayer before knowing what was being said. This wasn't dramatized dialogue. It was written down. What the film exaggerated and what it hid. The film The Exorcist amplified spectacle, levitation, head spinning, supernatural visuals. But the real case was more disturbing in a quieter way. No spinning heads, no flying beds. Instead, sudden personality shifts, unnatural rigidity of the body, expressions that didn't match human emotion. And this is where psychology enters the room. You've heard of the uncanny valley, when something looks human but behaves almost human, just slightly off. Priests described Roland this way. His expressions were not his own. Not violent movie possession, something colder, detached, as if the boy was present but not fully there. That's what terrified the witnesses most. The final exorcism. After months of failed attempts, the final ritual took place in a hospital room in St. Louis. Multiple priests, medical supervision, no audience. According to the final journal entry, Roland suddenly became calm. The behaviors stopped, and they never returned. The boy grew up, lived a normal life, never spoke publicly about the events. The church closed the file. Skeptics point to conversion disorder, psychosomatic responses, mass suggestion, all valid theories, but none explain everything documented in those journals, not completely. And that's why this case still exists, not as proof of possession, but as a gap in explanation. Conclusion: the investigative question. So here's the real question. Not
was it demonic? But can science fully explain what happened in that room, using only what we know today? Or are there moments in history where human behavior crossed into something we still don't understand? That's for you to decide. If you want more investigations into the real stories behind famous horror, cases where the documents exist but the answers don't, subscribe, because sometimes the truth is more disturbing than fiction.